This week marks the one-year anniversary of the Hamas terror attacks on Israel.
News 13's Gabby Jonas spoke with a local father whose son grew up in Myrtle Beach and is currently fighting on the front lines as an active duty soldier in the Israeli Defense Forces. She joins us now live in the newsroom with more on the ongoing conflict overseas and his son's experience. Gabby?
Yeah, Trish, Annette, Myrtle Beach resident Don Habibi is a professor of philosophy and also has a son who is currently fighting overseas. Habibi says watching the conflict continue to unfold causes him distress about the future of the Middle East.
For Israelis, it will be a day that lives in infamy.
This week marked 1 year since the terrorist group of Hamas attacked people at the Nova Music Festival in Israel and kidnapped hostages. Habibi says he had hopes that Israel was on the verge of peace with surrounding Arab nations, but in recent weeks has developed increasing fears of an all-out war in the Middle East.
It is now shifting from a Israel versus Hamas, which is a shorthand for Israel versus Palestinians, to Israel versus Iran and its proxies. It's been that all along, but now that the proxies are coming into the battle, and Israel has brought the battle to Hezbollah. So that is essentially changing the equation.
In September, News 13 spoke to Habibi's son, Eli, a 21-year-old who grew up in Myrtle Beach and who was home for his 1-month leave as a soldier for the Israel Defense Forces. Now, Don Habibi says his son is back in Israel fighting on the front lines of Gaza. And as a father, he says he prays for his son's safety every day.
It's a difficult thing to know your children are in a danger zone, in a war zone. And for one of my sons, it's, who's still there, it's very worrisome. There's no other word for it.
Growing up with both family in Israel and Iran, the elder Habibi says he has a great personal concern for what happens in the Middle East today, tomorrow, and in the future.
The stakes of this conflict are far bigger than Israel versus Gaza, or Israelis versus Palestinians, or even Muslims versus Jews. I would regard this as a civilizational battle for the future of the world order, that we need to be moving away from war and solving our conflicts through violence into a realm of diplomacy and into a realm of compromise.
Don Habibi says he is still holding out hope that the war will end soon, but says he finds it increasingly difficult to remain optimistic. Live in the newsroom, Gabby Jonas, News 13.